We're getting ready for an Easter weekend of football, which is always nice for everybody. But can we start with a catch-up of how things are in the treatment room, really? Because there's one or two come back and there's one or two hopefully heading back.
Yeah, so Rod and Tariq have done some light training with the group this week, which is good. And we've had no setbacks from them. Again, maybe tomorrow might be too early for them because we want to get the right amount of work in. But they've been on the grass. Longy's had no niggles off, obviously completing 30 minutes, which is again pleasing. And obviously there's Zach still. Dave Amou's just trying to clear up an issue with his ankle, which is ongoing. He's never had trouble with it before. So the obvious twist in the home game he played in, we just can't clear it up. But other than that, full bill of health. Just
an update on Rio Adebisi for us, if you can, because obviously he had to come off during that game at Doncaster. Has he done his training?
Yeah, Rio will be fine. He'll be absolutely fine, yeah.
And Ryan Finnegan, any better?
Sorry, yeah, Ryan, we were hoping to see on the pitch this week. He's been out doing individual work with the sports science. He's been out there today. Hopefully by the end of next week, we'll see him kicking the ball about with the rest of the squad again, which will be pleasing.
Well, the one good thing that came out of more than one good thing come out of last week's result, of course, was the return for the full 90 minutes of Courtney Baker-Richardson, who certainly had an input in that game, a goal and assist. It proved his worth, what he is to the squad when he's back firing on all cylinders. What will it do for him? Because you've had a week with him now on the training ground. Mentally, how have you found him for what happened for him last Saturday?
In terms of his confidence, and he believes in himself, which is great. We just felt the substitute appearances didn't quite match up with what he produced on Saturday. That was more like Courtney on Saturday, all action, encouraging the players around him. Obviously got his goal. He's claiming an assist as well. So it really pleasing for him, and that's how we want him to play. And then we'll manage him right in the training ground. We'll come up with a programme, or we have come up with a programme for Courtney, so we can try and keep him on the pitch more often than not. That might be taking away some football from him to work on strengthening work, which he's fully on board with. So we can keep him on the pitch, but he's as good as anybody in the division when he performs like he did on Saturday. And we want the same off him again tomorrow.
And for him, like every striker, they want to be amongst the goals, don't they? They want to be amongst the assists.
Yeah, absolutely. He's having a really good season in terms of his goal output, particularly towards his, the games he's played. But they all want to be. Dan's obviously got a good return as well. We're just desperate for Nev to get his goal. We're not harping on about it, but we're desperate because he's been an excellent addition to the squad. I think he's got a real good footballing brain, and we're just hoping for one to hit him off the backside and the floodgates open for him.
I think for the first time this season, you're finally, touch wood, I know you will in a minute, finally blessed with your main strike forces. They're all available.
Yes, it is, and I will touch wood, but it is. Look, when you're missing two firepowers like that. I've not gone on about it, but it is tough when you're reliant on the players to just churn out the games all the time. I thought Lockie looked excellent on Saturday. He'd been away obviously with Australia, but it is nice to have the firepower back. And I'd be lying if I said that the team and the squad haven't missed those players. We have missed those players. Like I say, it takes pressure off the other players who are churning out the games every week. You're able to mix and match what you're doing up there. So hopefully, touch wood again, that we get them fully fit until the end of the season, and we can push on towards the end of the season and finish on a positive.
It's 2 games in a 72-hour period, really, and one is a really long trip. You've got a home fixture coming up, Good Friday. Is it an important role for you and your team, your management team, that you look at all the players in your squad, that you manage them right so that they're fit and ready to go again when it comes around to Monday's game?
Yeah, absolutely. Including tomorrow's game. The games aren't going to look the personnel on the pitch isn't going to look the same because we've got to look after them. And when we've got everybody back in contention, you're not weakening your team at all. You're keeping the strength up, which again is a real pleasing thing. But we've got to manage them right. if you ask the players, they'll want to play in both games, because you do. When you're a footballer, you want to play in every minute. But again, we'll have to manage the players properly and tinker with a few things over the next 2 games.
Let's get the negative out of the road as we look at head to Barrow. You'll remember what happened at the first meeting there, October, probably arguably one of the worst of the season. So it's a chance to prove you're a lot better than that.
Yeah, it is. And we are better than that. It's going to be a really tough game. They're a good team who are set up in a particular way that really suits them. And it shows how much strength they've got. Yes, they carry a small squad, but what strength they've got, because Billy's left. I think he's the top goal scorer, and it's not weakened them. They've allowed that to happen. So they're a good team, a good manager, a good bunch of players in terms of they're doing what the manager's asking of him. So it's going to be a tough game, but we can't look back and go, we've got to put up in performance because of what happened then. We've got to live for the here and now, and we want to just try and improve all the time. I've watched all the games back over the last 6, and there's been some real pleasing things, and then there's been the obvious games where it's looked lacklustre, and it looked something like again on Saturday. So we've got to concentrate on us, not look back and go, we're doing it for this reason. We're doing it because we want to improve, and the players want to perform.
And what this fixture does, it does give you that opportunity. You've come off an away game with 3 points and a clean sheet to build on. And I think one thing you've mentioned a few times while you've been in the main chair is it's nice to get some back-to-back wins. You haven't had enough, have you? We
haven't had enough wins, full stop. Because of what schedule we've had, I've been able to watch a lot of the games, and it's so frustrating to think how many points we could have if we were just a little bit more ruthless at times, or held on right at the end. I mean, I'm saying the obvious, aren't I? But yeah, it would be nice to get back-to-back wins, and that's obviously the aim. But the message is to the players, they can't underperform tomorrow. There's no room to underperform after what they've hit. I like to look at their numbers, their intensity numbers, and what falls into that bracket are through the roof, absolutely through the roof on Saturday. So there's no excuse for them to play with that intensity, and sticking to a game plan though, which will obviously be different because we're playing a different team.
And the message is loud and clear coming from the manager to the supporters who are going to turn up, that you'll have your players ready and spot on to go out, because yes, it's that period of the season, unfortunately, that you're not quite in that area where you would have liked to have been, where the promotion race and the playoff race is hotting up, or even the battle for survival, which you look well clear of, is hotting up. But there's still lots of targets, so you're looking to get out of your players.
There's loads of targets, and I don't want anyone to turn around and watch a Crew game. We need more points. We want to be further away from the bottom. We need more points. But I don't want anyone to watch a Crew team between now and the end of the season and they're on the beach. They're on the beach. I won't accept it. I was saying to the players, you've got to empty yourself. If that means you last half a game, brilliant, so be it. If you last 55, so be it. But they've got to empty themselves in absolutely every game with the intensity, concentration, what we're asking of them. I'll be bang after them if anyone thinks they can take the foot off the gas. Like any manager should. You don't want your teams to be associated with being on the beach. Coming towards the end of the season, we need more points to get a bigger gap away from the bottom. You don't want to lose 3 and then the results limit the weekend, and then that gap gets smaller. So we've got plenty to play for.